It was brutal here in Connecticut earlier in the week, so the perfect time to have a look at one of Porsche's 4x4 SUVs.
So what is a Cayenne Coupe and what makes it different from the standard Cayenne that you could buy? Well, fact fans, let's have a look at the measurements first to see if it's a bigger or a smaller car. If I measure between the two wheels, the center of these two wheels, you'll see that actually it's exactly the same, precisely the same measurement. Same deal with the width, it's exactly the same width as a standard Cayenne. Here, if I look at its height at its tallest point, it is just 0.8 of an inch shorter than the standard Cayenne. And in fact, this car is an inch longer than the standard Cayenne, which I think really gets to the point of what we're looking at here. This is a packaging difference. What do I mean by packaging? Well, your eye is drawn to how the roof sweeps down to the bottom here, and it gives you that sleek coupe looking car. But actually, if you look again, it's very clever, because here, you'll see the roof is actually here and not here. So the height, actually for interior passengers, as we shall see, is barely compromised. But you still get that beautiful sweeping look that I think is better than its competitors of Mercedes and BMW, which tend to have a more SUV-looking waistline and below, and then an almost tacked-on coupe body, whereas this flows and is much more resolved, I think. So does the sweeping rear end compromise space in the trunk or the boot? Well, not really, a little bit. You're about 10 to 15% off the capacity of the standard Cayenne, but by no means is it small. And as you'll see, the rear door has a party trick. So it's in the back then that you think the compromise is. This sweeping rear roofline compromises my headroom. Well, not really, actually. I've still got a couple of inches above me, and I don't feel at all cramped at all. I'm 6 foot tall. This seat is where I would have it if I was driving. You can see there is a good 2 inches in front of me, and there's plenty of space for me to stretch out with my feet as well. And it's worth noting that in this particular car, you get a full set of climate controls in the rear, including each side has its own settings. So let's go up front and have a look at the engine. As is normal these days, there's really not very much to say. This car is the base model to the extent that Porsche doesn't really make base models per se, and has a turbocharged 3-litre V6 with 335 bhp. Other engines are available at quite some additional cost, including 2 hybrid models taking it up to the giddy heights of 670 bhp for the princely sum of $166,000. This one though, with extras, is $90,840 in this lovely colour of quartzite grey metallic with a standard interior in black leather. Not too many extras on this car actually. You get a heated steering wheel, the lovely 21-inch Cayenne turbo wheels in satin platinum, including those wheel arch extensions in the exterior colour. And that's about it. It also has the Premium Package Plus, which gives you these goodies. But back inside we go, and I have to say that the quality is very high. I drove here in my 2003 Porsche 911, and it strikes me how far we've come in 18 years. One of the things I hate about some cars is the poor quality of the plastics. Take a look at it in my 911, not good at all. Here, however, there is none of that, and it's actually really nice quality, and everything you touch feels good, and I think that would make it a lovely thing to own. The seats are well bolstered, hold you in nicely, and configurable in multiple directions, and are also heated and cooled. And you are surrounded by touchscreens, supposedly to make your life easier. technology seems to get harder and harder to actually use in modern cars. Maybe it's me getting older and less able to figure them out, but this one can be complicated. The good news is that there are shortcut buttons for the major functions in case you get stuck in menu hell on the main screen. These buttons here get you to climate control, media, apps, phone, navigation and so on. Otherwise you get 3 screens, one on the binnacle behind the steering wheel, which can be configured depending on what you'd like to see, your map, your economy or whatever. The main screen, and then the screen just below it. And one of the things I love about this car is that the owner's manual is actually stored in the infotainment. So you can go in and it's all there, including some video instructions, which you can actually watch and listen to in your car. The usual nooks and crannies to store things in the door, some cup holders, a little place here you could throw your mobile phone, and inside the center console, 2 USB ports and some more useful storage in there as well. So it's spacious enough, stylish, filled full of tech, but we should probably go and see what it's like to drive, right? Is 335 bhp enough to get it around? Is it a real Porsche or is it just another SUV? Let's go and have a look. So we are off and away in another brand new Porsche from Porsche Danbury. Thank you very much, Porsche Danbury, for loaning me this to bring it to the channel. A Cayenne Coupe, and the first thing you notice about getting into this is how well built it is. I mentioned this earlier on when we were looking at the inside of the car, but when you drive it, it feels every bit of the $90,000 that they are looking to get for it. The seats are very comfortable. It's got a lovely blend, as most Porsches do, of ride and sportiness. We must remember, of course, that it is an SUV, and with that comes a little bit of weight. I don't think it's any more heavier than anything else in its class, but it's an SUV, and you pay that price for having the four-wheel drive and the size of the vehicle to get your family in. But, and here's the clever bit, Porsche have rather masked that with the clever gearbox that they've got, which changes gears incredibly quickly. Also, the suspension, it is nimble. As you go round corners, you don't feel that you're in a floaty 4x4 of old where you're all over the place when you're going round corners. And also, it is aerodynamic as well. It doesn't feel like one of those block-shaped 4x4s. It's quite quiet in here, actually. And when I put my foot down, there's not much noise. Listen to this. See? Not very noisy at all. Very calm and, nice place to be. And from a power perspective, it's ample. It's not the fastest thing in the world, for sure. But Porsche, of course, have got an answer for that. You buy a more powerful car. And actually, there is one which has precisely twice the power of this car, 670 bhp in the Turbo S e-hybrid, and I can't imagine what that would feel like. Last time, of course, when I was here, we were out in the Taycan 4S with 562, I think it was, which was pretty fast. Add another 120 horsepower onto that, 118 horsepower, must be incredible. But this is plenty powerful enough for you and your family, and as I say, it feels plenty sporty enough. Inside, I'm also greeted with just this enormous screen, which I'm looking at right now, which actually has set so that it's just the map, so I can see on this enormous screen where I'm going, or at least where I should be, which is really, really nice. Inside the binnacle here, I've got the traditional rev counter, which is an analog rev counter, which I quite like, actually. That little bit of old-fashioned Porsche-ness about it with the rev counter right in front of you. On the left side I've got it set to the usual ornamental Porsche speedometer, which for some reason goes up in increments of 25 miles per hour. Like that's useful anywhere. On the right hand side I can flick it between whatever I want it to, either the map or efficiency or whatever I would like it to. So it's really quite a nice place to be. The quality's high, the technology's really good, it's snappy in terms of moving through the different screens. I can get to my quick action buttons down here without taking my eyes off the road very quickly, and I get 4 people in with quite a lot of comfort and not a lot of compromise, which I think is really good and really cool. That deceptive rear roof. The only downside to it when you're driving is the pillar box rear window. It's quite small. I mean, I can see everything I need to, I suppose, but that I suppose is probably the main compromise of having the sloping rear roof. Aside from the price is a little bit more for one of these, especially at the base model. As you go up, the increment gets actually smaller, so if you want the coupe version of the Turbo SC Hybrid, it's actually just a couple of $1,000s, I think, as opposed to the near $9,000 difference to have the coupe at this level, lower down the price bracket. So that's the end of the show for today. Thank you very much to Porsche Danbury for loaning me this car once again. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've got something out of it. I congratulate you on getting this far, listening to my dulcet tones. If you have enjoyed it, give me a like, would you? It would really help to bring the channel up the rankings a bit and keep me motivated. Also, have a hard think with yourself about the choice of subscribing. There are no known side effects to subscribing. I heartily recommend it. You might enjoy yourself. So, until the next time, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you soon.